I think like Japan in general, they're just such like trend-setting country. Like it's such a trendsetter of a country. The the level of confidence that some people have to dress the way that they do in Japan, is just like awe-inspiring.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 13 of Reseller Radio, the first ever episode in an actual studio face-to-face. Quite cool. I'm sitting with Jaafar Salaam of Jellyfish Archive. Just to let you guys know as well, the app is probably around 4 weeks away, so please do let us know if you want to be a beta tester or if you want to be on a future episode of Reseller Radio. So Jaafar, mate. Let's get straight to it. So please just tell us a little bit about what made you start Jellyfish Archive and also some of the stuff you were doing beforehand, because you always were into kind of buying and selling clothes. So maybe take us through that and also explain the idea behind the new Jellyfish Archive venture.
Yeah. Well, like, to be honest, I think, fucking hell, that keeps going off now. Obviously from living with me that even when we were in a house together, I was just buying clothes, and I've always liked Japanese television, anime, old skatewear and stuff. But I kind of was getting a bit fed up of that typical kind of hype beast, boring stuff like Supreme and Palace. So I started looking at older skate brands and just my favorite TV shows, and I literally just found shirts, promotional shirts from my favorite TV shows, kind of things that I just like. And then I found out that from having those things and finding them on Instagram, basically not going that traditional route of selling apps, just finding them on Instagram, it just it's crazy. There's a mad community of people, all of whom just kind of super helpful, trying to help everyone get what clothes they want and what they've been after.
So when you're looking at an item of clothing in that kind of niche, what makes it sought after, and what's the kind of basis of that item of clothing? Is it quite anime based? What are you looking for in an item of clothing when you're buying it?
Well, to be honest, in the anime stuff, it's literally just what my favorite anime show is. It usually tends to be older anime, don't know what it is, but Mexican mums growing up in America just drop their kid in front of the telly and just whack on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
So that's where it all started, literally just from being a little kid in America, growing up and just watching Dragon Ball, Naruto, all the kind of kiddie kind of younger animes that was dubbed in English and shipped off to America. Just started watching that, grew up in England after that, not really into anime as much, and then kind of when uni started, I just started starting just anime because we had so much free time in university, you know what I mean? We had absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah.
So just started being to be honest, I kind of think those are quite cool, the designs are cool, so I just get the shirts. And it's purely a decision of, do I like it? And to be honest, it's kind of fucked me because, can you swear? It's kind of fucked me because some of the animes I like are just really niche, and therefore finding the clothing for it is also quite niche, and it makes it quite hard. So I feel it's a small group of people in the broad scheme of things that are really just hunting and properly hunting. It's almost disturbing how deep you go. I literally backtrack someone on Pinterest for a shirt. I literally went through Google, and it's not just me, so many people do it. I just backtrack, found this guy, and I was just you selling a shirt? And he was just yeah. I was my guy, literally no Depop, no nothing, just had to find him, detective, Sherlock Holmes kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the people that you're selling to and your Instagram page and stuff, are they in Japan mainly, or is it everywhere? Because a lot of people I know at uni, a guy from Nigeria, loves anime and all this different stuff.
Yeah, I think it's quite weird. I don't really know that many English people who like anime. I'd say it's a really broad spectrum, but I'd say most of the people are in America, particularly the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
Not many Japanese people. There are some serious hardcore collectors in Japan, and they're often pretty aggressive when it comes to finding the shirts, but they're all really nice. And then but usually it's a lot of people from the West Coast, a few Canadians who are, to be honest, some of the nicest people. And yeah, like it's pretty diverse, and a lot of people in Singapore. So I'd say it's kind of like all over the shop, but yeah, mostly like Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles has like quite a weird and like very like devout scene to like vintage clothing. I think it kind of is like ingrained in like the kind of culture to be like dressing in vintage clothes. So you'll often find that most people are West Coast, like on that side of the States. Yeah.
Interesting. So in terms of at the moment, your brand is it's sometimes you're selling clothes, sometimes you're just posting your own kind of personal collection, right?
Yeah,
just because it's kind of a hybrid of those two concepts.
Yeah.
In the future, are you looking at kind of changing things around to make it more about selling, or do you like doing it as you are at the moment?
Yeah. To be honest, it depends. Like, I think the thing is with like the Neon Genesis Evangelion shirts, I really want to get all of them. Like, that's like my thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Every single shirt.
So there's 17 made on, and like, to be honest, it's crazy. Like, you find people who are so like devout to like the brand that the shirts are printed on, not even the company, like literally just what it says on the tag, like Fruit of the Loom, Fashion Victim, and like Delta. So there's a whole series of Delta shirts that are like 17 of them, 17 that I know of. Honestly, like sometimes someone will be on Instagram and it'll just be like fucking the most random like shirt will come up from like some guy who's got like 3 posts, and then everyone will be like, what the hell? Like, I've never seen these shirts before. And then it kind of just gets into like a sort of like a pissing contest of who's like, to be honest, at this point, it's like who's got the most money. Yeah. It used to be like much easier to do it. Like, so that's, to be honest, why I don't really like selling, because specific shirts. Some things I'll sell, like I'll sell, this shirt is like a contemporary art shirt, so I probably will end up selling this shirt, and I'll sell like a lot of the skate stuff. But the way that the anime clothes specifically have gone up in price in the past year, it's just it's actually astronomical. Like, you wouldn't believe. Like, so there's a part of me that's like, I could sell it, like I could, but then I don't want to rip people off, because I
guess if you buy all of them as well, then
yeah,
it's basically a monopoly. And
it's exactly. Yeah. And some of them, like there's only like 3 people I think that have one shirt, and like that's where rarity comes in.
So why do you think the price has risen so much in the last year specifically?
Our dear friend, like people like Travis Scott, just hyping it up on Instagram all the time, mate. Yeah. Like the skate clothes as well. I remember like I was picking them up. The first time I picked them up, hookups in Japan, was like a couple of years ago. And I literally like, I was like, this is such a cool brand. I think it's so interesting. And I just started like shopping for more like hookup skateboards clothes. And then like Travis Scott, no joke, like 3 times in a row in 3 music videos, literally out west, like you can name them, highest in the room, he was wearing hookups clothing. And the lad who actually he's sold a few of those shirts to him is a guy called Fats Spot, and he's honestly one of the nicest lads. But like, yeah, like the fact that they're like the audience is kind of growing more and more for these shirts just means that like, like people are gonna find out about it. What is like underground becomes cool, and therefore becomes like highly resellable. And that's just happening with like the skateboarding clothes, the anime clothes, contemporary art clothes probably coming up. And it happened with like rap tees, like you could find like an older Leah t-shirt or like a Selena shirt, and they probably would be selling for like, apparently, I don't know, I didn't really like get into that kind of like niche area of like the Instagram like clothing, but like someone was telling me that they like used to sell for like $800 in it, and like you could just have it in your house for,
that's mad,
bought it at £10 at some flea market, and then someone's just making like months rent off of it. So like it's just going that way. Like the more popular it becomes, and I feel like everyone's kind of catching on to like anime and stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like it used to be. Like you see like football players doing like Goku's like kind of power up kind of stance and shit like that. Like Neymar and like Ronaldo and people, like they're all kind of, it's quite weird. Like they vibe with AJ Tracy has like the same like massive like tattoo from Dragon Ball in his hand. Yeah. So like you're seeing it like pop up more and more in the culture, and I think that's like a big thing, really.
Yeah. So for like resellers out there who maybe don't know much about anime and that emerging scene, do you reckon it's something that people could look into, tap into, and then try and sell clothes like that they're already selling with anime themes around it? you reckon that's something they can tap into?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it'd be quite hard. It's quite hard sourcing the kind of clothes. Do you mean like, are they gonna make their own clothing or like?
Or even resell other clothes?
Resell other clothes with anime, like that have like anime clothing on it.
Yeah. Like, what would be the process? How would you learn about it? Where would you how would you get started? Because it's quite a big niche. And you obviously got into it because you really love anime in the past.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy for you. But people who want to kind of look into it and start that journey, what would they do?
I think, to be honest, like, I think the best thing is if you're fascinated with it, that's like always going to be the biggest, like the easiest way to get into it. Like if you actually enjoy it more than anything, like, then you're gonna kind of fall in love with it. So I'd say the best way to just kind of get into the scene or into like finding these clothes is just watch TV. Just watch the TV. It's not hard. If you can, if you can read, or you like subtitles, or half of the really popular ones are all like in English now. Yeah. Just watch TV, and then you might just like think,
get some inspiration.
It's all like a point of nostalgia. So I don't even think like you have to be recent with it. Like you don't need to be like a diehard fan who was watching it when you were like 5 years old. You just have to like be like, yeah, all right, cool. This is entertaining. Let's see what's happening, and you just go watch it. It's easy. But yeah, skating's a little bit harder though. Like there's some serious like hardcore people who like respect only skating, and like it's a very like tight knit kind of culture. Whereas anime is like just media, so anyone can kind of get involved in it. Like I can't really do like an ollie or something like that, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, you brought some of your stuff today.
Oh, yeah.
Do you mind just whacking them out and
I
got going through
a little goodie bag of stuff for you.
Yeah.
Are these your favourite items?
Some of them are favourite. Some of them just like the stuff I wear the most. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it wouldn't be true to me if I like brought you guys like some stuff that I was like just like had sitting there, like, because I don't know when to wear them.
The thing about Jaff is when I was living with him last year, I've never seen anyone buy so many clothes on a regular basis. And it's nice to know that he's also selling some of them.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That's my mentality, As long as it like, if I buy it and I can make some money off of it, hopefully in the end. But to be honest, it's like a slippery slope, because then sometimes I'm like, nah, I want these shirts for the rest of my life. Like I'm not gonna let anyone touch it. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, actually no, like definitely like need to get rid of them.
There's a lot of value in holding on to these kind of items as well. Because obviously as time goes on, actually they're kind of more sought after potentially, especially if the whole anime craze is rising, as you said.
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna get to the age of 40 and just be like a hoarder. Like I'm gonna have like newspaper clippings and shit, like, and just like a big wardrobe filled with like rotting clothes. But I really couldn't bring you guys much. I'm driving like down south for like an hour, in an hour when we're finished.
Thanks for bringing some stuff.
So it's like dealing, John. Got it all ziplocked and everything. But yeah, so here's some stuff. I brought some of my favorites actually, to be fair. Yeah. So these are, to be honest, what's also mad is how old the clothing is. So like, I'll show you guys, and then do you want to put it right in the front?
Whack it. Oh yeah, we could
hold it up.
Maybe hold it up.
Yeah. So like this is like everyone's favorite. This is really old. It's like Akira. It's a movie. It's a really good movie. Like, if you guys see it.
Nice.
And like it's from 1988, and I really want to say the guy's name who made it, but I know I'd butcher the pronunciation.
The shirt was made in 1988.
1988. So they're old shirts. Like they're not new. But yeah, Akira, it's a great movie. It's crazy. Like
how is it maintained that quality?
I'll hold it up.
Yeah, mate.
That is outrageous.
Mate, you say that's outrageous. That's like a pretty used one.
Yeah, but that's my point, mate. If you buy a T-shirt nowadays, you give it 10, 15 washes. You can't even read the writing anymore.
I know.
There you go. Hold it up.
They're strong shirts. Like they still stay like pretty intact. And I got stuff like this is my favorite. This is, to be honest, this is like my favorite TV show. It's really highly rated. Like it's quite interesting. It's got a lot of like layers to it. It's the creator of it literally like did it as like a metaphor for his depression, but it's kind of like a weird take. It's very dark, kind of like it's pretty psychological for a cartoon, if you know, like, you know, it's very artistic as well. But yeah, this is Neon Genesis. And these are the shirts I'm trying to like get all the shirts of. Before
what's the story behind this TV show?
So it's quite complicated. It's basically there's a kid.
Yeah.
there's a kid and he's his father. It's like post-apocalyptic, and his father is like the head of this kind of like government organization in this kind of like post-apocalyptic world that's responsible for like basically getting kids in these giant robots and killing monsters. But like, and that is like the simple abridged version of that. But then it's more like how like the characters interplay with each other and like the kind of trauma, like, you know, like the psychological strain of like these kids like having to like kill or die, and like it gets very like dark. Like I know it sounds like quite childish, but then if you really watch it, you're like taken aback a little bit. This is another one. This is Hookups. This is like skateboard. This is a skateboard company that was founded in 1994, and like this is the stuff that like Travis Scott's been wearing. Travis Scott hasn't been wearing much anime clothes, but I don't really want to talk about Travis Scott like he's an icon of mine, but
he
like,
is low key.
I like his music, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so this is like this is really old. I think this is like the tag from this is like 1996 to 7.
Wow.
So it's around the same time that we were born. But yeah, I actually just really rate the color.
Again,
it's really nice. It's like the
lovely.
baby blue. I thought this was actually like from Akira, but someone, when I posted it, like actually 2 or 3 people like corrected me and told me it's from like an older anime. But these aren't like promotional shirts. They're just like rip-off graphics.
Oh, really?
Well, like there's a designer and they basically design like the clothes inspired from animes. So it's kind of like an amalgamation of the two. Like it was a skate company that really liked anime, so they started like drawing their own kind of graphic versions of those animes and then putting them on skate shirts. And that was like around like way back in the 90s. It was actually quite like popping. And then to be honest, I think a lot of people I've spoken to said that the brand kind of fell out of favor when they started kind of having a bit more like gratuitous graphics, because it's not really representative. To be honest, like this is one of the reasons why I'm trying to sell my clothes, is because there's this stuff like this, which is a little bit more gratuitous, a little bit more space hose, yeah. Nice. It's to be honest, it's just a comfy as hell hoodie.
Yeah.
But
so what's the story behind that then?
I think it's a parody of Star Wars.
Oh, I see.
You see what I mean? Like it's all parody. Like but it is, you know, it's comfy.
No, I rate that. It's cool.
But yeah, like that's really about it. That's all I brought for you guys. And there's this, which is a contemporary art shirt from a really cool Japanese artist called Hajime Sorayama.
Okay.
And and yeah, like he's been around for ages. He's been collaborating with like artists for years, like Aerosmith. He did some shirts. More recently he did like a collaboration with Dior. So he's been around for ages. Like you know how like Drake and that like Takeshi Murakami guy did a collaboration and stuff like that. So he's actually just a contemporary artist that makes clothes with kind of more luxury fashion brands.
And those are his drawings as well?
These are his drawings, yeah. So these are his actual like original drawings, whereas like yeah, like he designed specific ones for like the Aerosmith tour, I think in the 90s.
It's interesting because in Japan is reselling a big thing as well, because I've heard that they hate having clothes which are marked. They like new clothes is such a big thing for them.
Yeah. When I've been out, like it's kind of a mix. Like I haven't really been lucky with finding like anime clothes. I know a guy who went out to Japan and he found some stuff, but I think he was probably like doing some research. But when I was there, like all I could really find was like your typical hype kind of clothing, like Supreme and like Balenciaga and stuff like that, which had like outrageous price tags. And I didn't really like it. Like it but yeah, I think the vintage clothing in Japan, I'm not too sure.
More of a Western thing.
I feel like we go a little bit more like nuts with it. Like all I've really seen in Japan is like reselling relatively new and quite like nice clothes. And I've been to a couple like thrift shops, and they have like it's very curated, you know what I mean? Like it's in England and in like America, you can go to like a Goodwill, or you can go to like a thrift shop, or you can just find like them in like bins, and basically like those like kind of just big like donation bins, and like you can find anything, and you could pull out like literally pieces of gold. But I think in Japan, everything from what I saw as a tourist was like extremely very well presented, like almost like kind of
much
like,
more like a clean society,
like high street kind of like shopping kind of stuff, which was surprising, to be honest.
It's quite amazing how Japan is such an important player in fashion and art.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? It's hard to answer, but if you had to kind of think of some reasons why.
I think like, well, taking away from like vintage clothing, I think like Japan in general, they're just such like trend-setting country. Like it's such a trendsetter of a country. Like the level of confidence that some people have to dress the way that they do in Japan is just like awe-inspiring. Like I've literally never seen like, you know, like you'll even see like 60-year-old like men just on the street, but like genuinely like dressing not like their age, but like very modern and like quite young, and like it's just like it's crazy, very bold. Like you know, they'll be wearing a blazer, but it'll be like not distressed. It'll be like misfitting on purpose with like all these kind of like accompanying.
They're wearing like big trainers.
Yeah. It's just you're there like it's actually just so like
England.
You wouldn't see it in England. Like it's very it's very cool culture to be in, and I think like even you know like it's at a basic level, like their like kind of version of like Urban Outfitters is like Beams, and they have shops all over the country. But the things that they stock and they have like the special like kind of brands they have, it's just like you kind of come back home and you're just like, it's actually a bit dead. Like what we've got in the shop, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it is kind of it's crazy. I think that's why Japan is always like setting trends, and you know you can see it. Like look how many like artists go to Japan and like find inspiration from you know what the people are doing there, and like it's very interesting as a country. That's why I try and go.
Well, so for you personally, given you're about to go into your final year of uni, what are you thinking in terms of the future? Because given your knowledge and your interest, it'd be kind of interesting for you to maybe explore that career path, kind of fashion-based career path.
In clothing?
Yeah, in clothing. What are your thoughts on that?
I might do. To be honest, I think this isn't really like my like main goal. Do you know what I mean? Like I love doing it, and like to be honest, I love the people in the community that I've met. Like they're all so like nice and just like really like helpful individual people that you know you can honestly just go and ask them like tons of questions. I asked someone the other day like, how do I wash my clothes properly? Like just because I was like, I don't want to ruin my clothes. Yeah. Even though like I know how, but like I was like freaking out about my washing machine, and like they won't ignore you or anything. They'll just be like, yeah, man, you need to do this, this, and this, and this, and then they'll just you know like you'll be like, oh, cheers. Yeah. But I wouldn't really like be certain about it as like a career path. In my future, I just think like as long as I keep liking like, buying clothes and selling clothes at times, as much as I like kind of like collecting and doing all of that stuff, I'll probably, I don't know, it's weird. I'll either keep all of them, sell half my collection when I get around to it, or I'll just like, I don't know, maybe some more life decisions when I'm like 25 or something, 26, and I need to like look for like a house or something that's not in like a.
So with your with the selling side of things, I know you're not big on that further buying, but do you have any tips maybe for people out there for reselling clothes?
Yeah, I'd say like keeping on trend is quite important, like understanding what people are looking for, because to be honest, like you could be like no one knows what you might want. In terms of selling, I'd say like I don't know, like personally I like it when people build up a rapport, you know what I mean? Like I that's why I'm so like anti Depop now, or not really anti Depop. Like I don't used to use it as much as I used to. I use it more as a platform for buying, because I like it when like you open a dialogue up with me and we have like a decent conversation, because I'm sick of like, do you know what I mean? If I post something on Depop and I'm like, let's say like £40, and then someone's like £12 final offer, I'm like, no, I'm alright. Actually, like, did you not read it? That's shipping, mate. Like, you're taking the piss. Yeah. So like, I appreciate like people, and to be honest, that's what really pushes me. Sometimes when I actually get around to selling things, if you open up like a good conversation with me, and like you talk, like you tell me you want it up front, and then you kind of just keep talking, and you know, like I kind of want to see that you want the piece of clothing, because like I know how hard it was for me to get it. I know how hard it was for the person before me to get it. I want someone who's actually going to be like, I kind of give a shit about this thing. Like it's quite interesting. I don't like need them to care about like the culture and the community. I just want them to like really be like kind of almost like yearning for that one piece of clothing. Like, and I think that's like the only thing that I personally enjoy is like, I don't want like dickheads basically on my feed being like £10 and then you're like, no, like, sorry, like I'll go 10 lower. And then it's just like, oh, what the fuck, man? Like, you're just like, yeah, good luck saying that. You like, it's like, mate, like, just have it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you need to relax yourself because you're really getting a little bit too like.
So you normally sell on Instagram then?
Normally on Instagram, yeah. Like, I'd sell, like, to be honest, I sell like clothes. The Instagram page serves really as a function of like showcasing and displaying the things that I spend a lot more time getting. And so, like, I mean, a lot of the engagement I get with the people on my Instagram account are people who are specifically interested in, like, very old skatewear, anime clothes, and more niche kind of topics that I'd say really represent my kind of interests of, like, what I like to consume in terms of, like, media. But, like, I'll sell, like, normal clothes. Like, you know, like, if I have, like, a Stone Island jacket, I'll sell it because... Or like if I have a jumper or something, anything, like if it's from, 4 years ago and I like it. Because I have been like buying and reselling for like, as a kid, like when I was 16, like I used to go with like my mates and like queue up in places to just get clothing. So I think it's all like kind of born out of that. And having that kind of eye, I think it's just a thing that kind of, you know what I mean?
When you were building your Instagram page, because it's such a niche, how did you get the followers? How did you get that kind of traction? What tactics did you use?
Yeah, it's crazy. So like I was using my personal account to just find the clothes for like 8 months, 9 months, something like that. And I literally it just came from like speaking to like a lot of the people who now in the actual like community on Instagram, I to be honest, I respect like some of the lads who just like were like, actually I will sell you this shirt, like, and that's why I think it kind of reflects my me being such a stickler for having like a dialogue and a conversation, is because those kind of same people like got me my first shirt or got me like the one I was looking for, and so when that happened, I was just like, you know what, I actually have a really good collection going on. Why not showcase it and like sell some stuff on the way? Hopefully, like trading's a lot, like a big part I didn't talk about. Like a lot of clothes get traded around because, I think it's rare, especially now. I think lockdown's kind of affected it even more. Like it's rare to find people selling as like kind of willingly. So I think it's like a trade by trade kind of thing as well, which is kind of weird. It's like taking us all the way back to like the medieval ages of bartering. But yeah, like. I literally just was looking on in summer specifically for the anime clothes. I was looking about a year ago for Neon Genesis shirts because I was a fan and I was like, I really just want a t-shirt. It's quite sick. And then like, it's gone even further. I collect like pieces of artwork from the show, like the genuine photographic stills of that, like hand painted drawings by like the animators. So yeah, like it literally just like was born out of that. And and then I just was like, well, I've got nothing else to do. I mean, I know we're at uni, but like, there's a lot of free time involved. You will very much know. So yeah, like it just came from that. Like, just was like, fuck it, need something to do. I'm bored. Yeah. So. Well,
I love it, Jaff. I love it. I love the knowledge you have on it. It's really, really good.
The passion comes through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A lot of in-depth knowledge, which is really nice and really informative. So I think we've got to wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jaff, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, mate. It was great to see you.
First live session.
First ever live guest.
We'll see how it comes out.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to watch this because the sound of my own voice actually makes my stomach turn.
Yeah.
Well, I sound like
we
a
got to
bitch.
watch the whole thing.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
Don't worry.
You have to deal with my weird squeaky voice.
No, not at all. Not at all. Right.
All right. Much love, yeah.
Thanks very much, man.
Perfect.